Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, just go ahead and leave that in. That's pretty much how I felt listening to everything that's happened over the last week.
2 days.
2 days, yeah. Good God. Welcome back to Transition Game, the podcast. I am your host, Katherine.
I'm the other host, Theo.
And oh boy, if you live under a rock or haven't been looking at your phone every single second of the last, how long? Week and a half? Roughly? What's today? What is today? June 10th. Today's June 10th. So if you haven't really checked in on the PWHL since the end of the Walter Cup finals, oh boy, have you missed everything.
Literally everything.
There's a whole new league now. Everyone's gotten themselves canceled immediately. And there's so much to talk about. There's drama, there's tea, there's good things happening, there's bad things happening. Where do you want to jump in?
We just jump right into the expansion draft.
Yeah, it's been
There's
weird.
so much to talk about. And it's not even over yet.
Yeah, we're only we're going into phase 3 today.
Yeah, phase 3 starts in a few hours.
Good Lord. Okay, well, so in case you live under a rock or like us, even Professor Puck couldn't explain this to you.
I tried to explain. So our very first episode, Kat was like, I need you to explain the expansion draft to me because I don't get it. I read up about it and I was like, okay, I get this. And then it happened and I was like, I don't understand this. So ignore everything I tried to explain about the draft previously because I have no idea what the hell just happened.
And the fun part is I don't think anyone really does, given how this has gone and what we know now.
Because it was oh, players under contract, X, Y, and Z. And then I was like, oh, wait, actually, players with expiring contracts can also do this. And it's like, what the fuck is happening?
Yeah, it seems like this was maybe not as well thought out by the league as it probably should have been beforehand, as they're kind of changing the rules on the fly because players were getting upset. And, well, there's lots to talk about. So, let's start with probably the biggest one. Let's just go over PWHL Detroit's existence from reveal to today, because oh boy. So PWHL Detroit starts out, gets announced. Everyone in the Midwest is so excited to have another team in the Midwest that is not the Minnesota Frost,
Including us.
And I think that is reflected if you've listened to the other episodes of this podcast. We were very excited for this team. And then they announced their GM. We're like, oh yeah, we love Manon. She's great. And then they announced their initial player signings.
I was excited at first because their first announcement was Daryl Watts. Daryl Watts signed a 4-year expansion franchise offer. That's so sick.
I'm so sad.
Well,
I miss her.
it's been 24 hours.
I miss her in Toronto. She probably hasn't even left Toronto yet.
She hasn't even moved out. Not like she has a lot to move out.
No.
She just doesn't have any food in her fridge anyway. So.
She's got to change her address on her DoorDash account. You know how hard that is? Not easy.
So Watts gets the expansion franchise offer for 4 years. I imagine she'll probably be making the most on the team if I had to guess. Then they signed Barnes for 3 years, Bilko for 2 years, Comper for 3 years. And then,
Also sad about that one.
Yes, rip to the Toronto Scepters.
We're getting destroyed out here.
And then the most disappointing post I've seen all week. They signed Britta Curl for 3 years.
For 3 years. Crazy. This is not a signing that I saw coming.
Not at all.
From any expansion franchise, I would not have. If you had said Britta Curl was going to get signed in the first 5 players of any of the expansion teams, I would have laughed at you and then cried.
I was shocked that she would be willing to leave because Chris Klee kind of just lets her play how she plays.
Yeah,
so it's like, why would you give that up?
Right, exactly. And also, it's not like the fans of the league in anywhere except for Minnesota really like her, and honestly, they don't really even like her there.
Minnesota.
So it's definitely a very odd pick to me, but given what we now know about who the coach for the team is and kind of just the identity that this team is building since their inception, it does not shock me, unfortunately, that they have decided to draft Britta Curl. This is a team that has already kind of habitually broken the rules around the expansion process, as we now know, and their GM has essentially confirmed in an interview that they were talking to players and agents well before they were supposed to, and the league just kind of slapped them on the wrist about it, which obviously upset all of the other franchises. Like, if you haven't seen our most recent Twitter post at the time of recording, PWHL Las Vegas, who just has nothing.
Nobody wanted to sign there.
So, it's not shocking to me that essentially they are building a Minnesota Frost V2 type of team, or organization, rather.
I mean, we can't sit here and say that Britta Curl is the only, transphobic player in the league.
No, but she's definitely the most problematic.
Yeah, just from, purely non-political perspective, someone who takes that many suspensions and lays those dirty kinds of hits.
Is
I don't know why you
saying
want that.
That's a foundational player of your team that you want.
There's no one else that wanted to play in Detroit. You went for her.
Right. You went out of your way to sign that player.
So, it was a big heartbreaker. I was so excited for another Midwest team. And
all I can say is we're so back, Toronto Scepters Nation. Let's go!
Shit, I might be. Fuck it, I'm gonna be a Toronto Scepters fan next year. I mean, some good news that came out of it. Fans of the league came together to develop Puck Curl,
which is, if you haven't seen, is a very fun fan project, and we'll link the website in the show description for those of you who want to go check this out. But for every goal that Britta Curl scores this upcoming season, fans are pledging to donate to, I believe it's just various LGBTQ plus charities in Detroit. So very, very exciting to, kind of root against her.
That's awesome. I love that.
Very cool. We will, if you want to get in on that, link will be in the show description. We're not affiliated with them, but it's a cool fan project. So let's see, what else can we talk about as far as expansion goes? I guess the thing that confused me the most is that all of the teams posted the same graphic in regards to what the process was for the expansion process, and then didn't follow it at all, seemingly.
I have no idea what happened.
But teams have protected some players, and teams have signed some players, and teams have lost some players. So let's just go over what we know so far. So
chronological
order. Here were the initial protection picks from all of the existing teams. So Boston protected Frankel, Keller, and Wynn, which is really funny considering all the time that we spent talking about Haley Wynn on the show already.
Yeah.
I thought that was a silly, goofy signing. I wonder how Haley Wynn's brother felt about that. We gotta get him on the show one day.
They had to protect her, or else he would have made another TikTok.
You're right, the TikTok pressure would have been too much. Minnesota protects Panic, Rooney, and Heisey. Montreal protects Poulin, Stacy, and Debian, which is not at all surprising.
No, not at all.
New York protects Fillier, Kelty, and O'Brien.
You can't say her last name, so you said Kelty.
Yeah, I'm not even gonna. That's too many syllables and letters. It's too early. Ottawa protects Savalainen and Phillips and Leslie.
She can say Savalainen.
Yep. Seattle protects Carpenter, Murphy, and Wilgren. Toronto Scepters Nation protects Kirk, Fast, and Sheldon. And Vancouver protects... Is it Jakes?
Jakes.
Yeah, that's what I thought. Mashmeyer and Nurse. I feel like none of these were terribly surprising.
No.
Just looking at kind of all of these teams, like I think for a lot of them they got the players that were most expected or most important to the team identity.
Yes.
In a lot of cases.
In most cases, yeah, I would agree.
I would say that I was probably most surprised that Seattle didn't want to protect Knight, but also it doesn't super duper shock me. It's kind of one of those ones where it's just like, who really do you protect on that team when most players have expiring contracts anyway?
Yeah, Seattle, I think, was the one I was like, I have no idea who's gonna be saved here.
Yeah.
I didn't think that they were gonna save Knight, like, protect her anyways, just because when you have such an iconic player in the States and you're trying to boost a brand new franchise off the ground,
Yeah.
you want, like, her name on your roster.
Oh, for sure. Yeah.
I'm pretty sure, like, Seattle knew that Knight was going to be picked up by an expansion team by not protecting her. So
yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know what the decision process was there.
No, I completely agree, and I think for a lot of these teams, you can make the argument that it's like, man, it really sucks that you can only protect 3 players in this first phase, because there were a lot of really good options on all teams. I mean, for just being biased towards Toronto for a second, like not being able to protect players like Turnbull and Malte and, you know, Spooner, and, you know, I was very scared as a fan going into phase 2 because, you know, there's only so many players that we can feasibly keep.
And then you protected Shelton.
Yeah. We sure did.
Shelton.
We sure did. Look, I love Shelton, don't get me wrong, but I was really thinking they were going to go for, like, Flanagan or, like, Malte or...
Emma Muppet?
Then, after the protection was done, we get into phase 2, which is where all the drama happened.
So, the initial expansion franchise draft, Hamilton came in hot. They were like, hey guys, we're here and we have picked all of your favorites.
Right, they were like day one. They were like, all right, everybody, if you have a favorite player on your favorite team, the homewreckers are here.
So, first draftee was Brianne Jenner from the Ottawa Charge. Can't say I'm shocked.
No, I know a lot of people were shocked that Jenner didn't get protected, but also Ottawa just did not have the money, I think, to pay her.
Yeah, I think Ottawa's got younger players that they want to keep.
Yeah.
And they owe Phillips a lot of money.
They owe Phillips a lot of money.
Reading up after, I'm not shocked that Jenner wasn't protected, but once again, it's like you have an iconic hockey name, you want her on your expansion roster.
Right, exactly. And it's one of those things where now that we know a little bit more about what happened and that there was no interest from Ottawa in signing her to at least to a big like 3-year contract like she probably would have wanted, it makes sense that she took the pay bump to go to Hamilton.
And she gets to play for the hometown.
Right, so. Exactly. So I mean it's it's kind of a win-win for her. So
I mean I'm sure she was like initially disappointed, but I think she's a great player. I think she'll be fine.
Mm-hmm.
Osborne was next.
Mm-hmm.
Took Osborne from New York, and then Alina Mueller from Boston. That was a big one.
Mm-hmm.
And then they got Goose from Montreal.
They're breaking up your family.
They stole her from her mother's.
She's too young to be away from her mother's.
And then Emily Clark is joining Jenner and moving in from Ottawa.
Yeah, Hamilton really just went on a tear, and I think most of their signings were day one of phase 2. They were extremely active, extremely early in that process.
Hamilton is like the Canadian equivalent of like Detroit.
Yeah.
Like in terms of hype in the market.
Yeah.
As many players wanted to play in Detroit, I would not be surprised if a lot of them were also like, oh, I hope Hamilton picks me.
Yeah.
After this past week's dramatics, I think Hamilton is probably the expansion franchise I'm most excited for now.
Mm-hmm. I would definitely agree with that.
San Jose they've been very quiet.
That does not shock me given who's in charge in San Jose. And may I just complain for a moment about Troy Ryan?
Please.
I feel like I talked about it a little bit on the last episode, but the fact that he is the GM and also the coach for that team is just so painful to be as a Toronto Raptors fan that already had to deal with him for a certain amount of time. I cannot fathom that is going to lead to anything other than him surrounding himself with a bunch of yes men that are like, yeah, Troy Ryan, we don't need any scouts or talent or anything. Like, it seems very much to me that this is the equivalent of, like, I'm trying to think of what a good NHL like counterpart. It feels very almost Boston Bruins like boys club esque, like the PWHL version of that, where it's just like we're just gonna do whatever and collect the paycheck, and then I don't know, our team will probably suck, but that's fine. You know,
I'm like I'm imagining like a player going up to Troy and be like, Coach Troy Ryan, I have a problem and I need to speak to the GM. And he's like, go for it. And then he like turns around, he puts a hat and a fake mustache on, and he's like, oh, it's GM Troy Ryan. What's your problem?
Yeah, I really would love to hear from the league on how they're planning to work that out, because I feel like that's just such an issue, or at least will be such an issue at some point. But yeah, I mean, it's nothing against any of the players that they've drafted or anything. I think that honestly they've got some good picks, but it's just,
oh yeah, this has nothing to do with the players.
Yeah, it has nothing to do with the players at all. It's everything to do with the fact that I can't stand Troy Ryan, and thus this whole organization is just tainted to me.
So San Jose started out drafting Schroeder from Seattle, Gilday from Ottawa, and then they finished it out with Tchaikovsky, O'Neill, and finally Wheeler.
Mm-hmm.
So everyone was signed to a 2-year contract.
Yeah, they haven't used their EFO yet, huh?
I was looking online. As far as I can tell, Watson's the only player that has an EFO.
That's so strange. I thought Knight had an EFO too. We'll get to Vegas in a second,
We'll get there.
But yeah, the league details regarding how these players are being assigned to teams is confusing at best.
Yeah, again, I tried to understand it. I tried so hard. I thought I understood it. Turns out I don't understand any of it.
The league doesn't know what's happening, apparently, and they really are not doing a great job at making it public facing.
This is a fucking mess.
So, Vegas
has had a
PWHL franchise that exists.
They exist.
I think for the first 2 days of phase 2, they did not tweet anything at all.
I was reading up on the news and everything, and I was seeing that they didn't want to drop big contracts on recruiting 2 or 3 big players.
Mm.
So if I had to guess, most of the players they wanted signed with
other teams. Yeah, and that was something that we saw a lot. Ian Kennedy on Twitter, lovely human, very good at news, had said that a lot of the players that he had heard were talking to Vegas ended up in other expansion markets just because Vegas didn't want to spend the money, essentially. Yeah. Which is crazy, because I'm fairly certain, and we might have to fact check this and pull this out of the episode, but I'm fairly certain that the PWHL Vegas franchise is funded a decent amount by MGM.
It's fucking Vegas. They went to the league and said, we want a team, we'll pay for it, and then they're like,
I don't want to pay for it though.
So I don't know, they didn't want to pay for a top line and then have really shitty lines 2 through 4.
Yeah.
Which I get, but also now you lost everything.
Right.
You lost all of your
chances at star players. Yeah.
They first signed Batherson and Cooper, both from Minnesota, and then those are the only 2 they signed in the first phase. So these are the only 2 players that signed, I'm going to put this in air quotes, by choice.
Right, sure.
Keep in mind, Hamilton signed, so all the expansion teams had 5 spots that they could fill in this phase. San Jose filled 4 out of the 5.
Mm-hmm.
Hamilton and Detroit both filled all 5.
Mm-hmm.
This was like talking to players directly, being like, do you want to come here? We'll pay you this. And them agreeing, yeah, I'll come here.
And it was mostly like people saw the Vegas area code hit their phone and just like B-buttoned them or something. Like, I would really love to know what's happening in Vegas, because
nobody wants to play there.
right, like it's really it seems like nobody wants to go, like, be associated with them at all.
Obviously, like the Golden Knights being who they are,
Right.
I'm pretty sure that's a big thing.
I was gonna say that's definitely got to put a bad taste in people's mouths, especially when as soon as the PWHL brand was announced there, they were like, oh yeah, we're like a nod to the Vegas Golden Knights, and everyone was like, ugh.
Stop nodding to them. Well, even if you shook your head, they wouldn't know what that means either, so.
So anywho, in the following phase, they signed Ambrose and Skimura from Montreal.
Rip to the Montreal defense.
Yeah, it's so over. And then the big one came. And then the big one came. So before this even becomes public, Daryl Watts gets signed to PWHL Detroit. We had known that Hillary Knight was talking to PWHL Detroit and was very excited to be there, and like that was the only expansion franchise that she wanted to go to. That being said, when Detroit used their EFO on Watts, that kind of fucks over Hillary Knight's ability to get there on the contract that she was probably promised by the organization. So what happens is, before this sign, so she signs an EFO with PWHL Las Vegas. Before that even becomes public, it comes out that essentially what's happening, or what's proposed to be happening, we don't know if this is going to be the case, but what we have heard right now from TSN and the Associated Press and a bunch of other sources is that what is happening is Knight is signing an EFO contract with PWHL Las Vegas, but will then be traded to PWHL Detroit when trading becomes available on June 16th, I think, is when that opens up. And we're not really sure what that trade is going to look like, or if that's something the league is going to allow, but it seems really shady.
Yeah, this whole situation is very confusing in how the league let this happen. So what I know is that Vegas wanted Watts.
Mm-hmm.
And then I think Knight was on their list below Watts.
Sure.
But then Detroit was like, I want Watts, and I'm more important than you. They signed Watts to the EFO. So there's some rule with the initial signings, or it's each expansion team had to list their top players that they wanted, and whoever's still available has to sign. Once again, I tried very hard to understand this, and I didn't understand it. Essentially, Knight wanted to go to Detroit, but Detroit used all 5 of their phase 1 to whatever fucking phase we're in. Used all of their initial signings on other players. Basically, what I'm hearing is Knight is refusing to play in Vegas, which understandable. I'm not even mad at Knight.
Yeah.
Because the whole point of this different process was to allow players to have a choice in where they wanted to play.
Mm-hmm.
I'm a little frustrated with the league, just about how
inconsistent the messaging has been, and how often they are changing the rules but not saying anything.
This whole thing is just so confusing. Before they even announced that they signed Knight, it sounds like she's gonna go to Detroit, and Detroit's gonna send Vegas their first round pick for the draft. We'll see if that actually happens.
Yeah.
Because once again, we are currently 6 days away from trading being open.
Right.
But man.
Yeah, it's a really, really weird situation that's kind of sprung out of this. And I think that, again, is because the league initially had a plan on how this whole process was supposed to go, but then the players had pushback on it, and the organizations had pushback on it, and people just started breaking the rules willy-nilly, and so then the league kind of had to backpedal on their original plan and now we're just kind of doing whatever. It just kind of feels like we're having a vibes expansion at this point.
This is a fuck it. You want to go? Go. Get out.
Yeah, it's been a really, really weird beginning to this process.
I genuinely I need to understand how, like, what went wrong in the first place.
I think it was just originally that the league had very specific rules in place on how the expansion process was supposed to work. But also it seems like the timetables for everything were not really communicated very well to the franchises as well as the existing teams, because all of the expansion franchises took a while to get announced, and then most of them, if not all of them, I think were leaked before they were even properly announced. And then that, like, ate into them being properly announced. So, you know, like, Vegas didn't even have social media when they got announced. And at the same time, Hamilton, I think it was Hamilton and Vegas that got announced on the same day, right? Originally. Because Hamilton didn't even get, like, a whole, like, Vegas got, like, a whole big thing. And then Hamilton was just kind of happening in the background.
Hamilton was like, hey, we're here.
Yeah, it's been such a really weird and confusing process, and honestly kind of frustrating if you're just an overall fan of the league to be able to keep up.
For us, as
right.
Like, some people, like, we just like to talk about it and keep track of it. I haven't been able to keep track of what the fuck is going on.
Yeah, it's been incredibly difficult to follow up all of these things that are happening at the same time.
And then this whole Detroit Knight situation is like, I'm not really concerned about, like, the players themselves.
Right.
Like, Knight deserves to be able to play where she wants to play.
Yeah.
And with the draft class this stacked,
right,
I'm not concerned about the return Vegas is getting on the trade. But
right.
How, so...
I think it's really...
like, Detroit's essentially getting 6 expansion picks, Vegas gets 4.
Right.
And then Vegas is going to have to... Vegas has all D.
Yeah.
They didn't draft any forwards in the draft because they didn't...
And they also don't have a goalie.
They don't have a goalie, so they're going to have to be relying on pretty much...
solely the draft
picks.
At this point, yeah.
And then...
I mean, barring any, like, crazy signings they can get out of phase, like, 3 and 5 or whatever it is. But
it does just seem so shady to me, because it's like, why did you... If you knew you wanted Knight, why didn't you just sign her?
Mm-hmm.
But you wanted Watts. You knew other teams wanted Watts, so you give her the EFO first, and then Knight can just strong-arm her way into your organization. I don't know. The whole thing is like...
Yeah, and I have to say, the other thing that's really kind of bothering me about the way that this expansion process is going is that seemingly nothing was really set up for any of these expansion teams before they were announced and started this process. Like, Vegas hasn't even, or I think just yesterday, they announced who they're planning to put in as their head coach.
Oh yeah,
and they've already signed.
Yet. Yeah.
Right, they have no staff, and they're already signing players. How are you gonna put together a team if you have no coach to have input on who you should be picking up for your team?
Yeah.
That makes no sense to me.
I fear that maybe barring Hamilton and now, like, maybe Detroit, I feel like teams are not... I feel like the expansion teams are just gonna do shit.
Yeah, I think it's gonna be really, really rough start to the season for a lot of these teams.
I don't know, it could be proven wrong.
I would love to be proven wrong, but right now, I mean, especially, I really feel bad for Kim Weiss, who just got announced as the coach of PWHL Las Vegas, who's just getting kind of thrown into a shit show.
Yeah, she said, we drafted you 4 defensemen. Good luck.
Yeah, right. Here's 4 defensemen and, I don't know, a dream. And also we have to sell Hillary Knight.
Like, you get 2 first-round picks, I guess.
It's really strange.
So, I mean, we'll see if the trade happens. Maybe Knight will suck it up and play the year. She was only signed to a year-long contract, so to me that she's totally getting traded.
Yeah.
But, we'll see. Maybe she'll end up sticking the year out. I doubt it, but...
25 minutes ago, Pascal Realm has been announced as Toronto Scepter's next head coach. Realm, or I don't know. Whatever.
French. Something French.
Something French. I really don't have any issue with this. I think he's fine as long as he doesn't try to trade for Britta Curl. I don't really care. I'm very indifferent. As long as he's not Troy Ryan, I don't care.
Anywhere but up.
I feel like one thing we should probably talk about in this episode, and you can probably just throw this in with the section where I'm complaining about the lack of staff for the expansion franchises. I think this extends to pretty much every team in the league almost at this point. There's so many coaching vacancies in the league right now. I feel like that should have been like thing number one we're doing before any of this expansion nonsense.
Yeah.
Like how do you have 6 coaching vacancies in the league?
Half the league doesn't have a coach.
Right, that's what I'm saying. Like, why are we throwing all these players around when you don't have a coach to tell you what you should be going after? I don't understand.
Speechless.
I
I sincerely hope that the league stops expanding for a while.
yeah,
after
this feels like it was very, very rushed through.
I am perfectly fine with 12 teams.
Mm-hmm.
That's a good amount of teams.
Yeah.
Let's keep it at 12. Let's get the players. Let's let them stay home.
Mm-hmm.
Let's let them, move into an apartment.
Yeah.
This whole expansion process has been draining just to keep track of. It is brutal as a fan. Love a team and then your favorite players get moved away.
And you don't even know why.
Yeah, it's...
Because the league doesn't explain to you why they're getting stolen from you.
As much as I want them to just keep growing, let's chill out. Let's make some money.
And I think that the league can grow in ways that are not pushing the actual like amount of teams number higher. I feel like we could start growing the league in other ways too. Like, let's add an all-star weekend.
Yes.
Let's add outdoor games. Let's, do alternate jersey types. Like that kind of stuff I think is what the league should focus on in the next couple of years. And, give these franchises a chance to settle, kind of figure out what went wrong with this time around of expansion, because this was not nearly as bad when we added Seattle and Vancouver.
I mean, yeah, maybe it was just the fact that it was 2 versus 4.
Right, or maybe just they had more time to prep and whatnot. But yeah, I don't know. This has been a really, really rough go around at expansion so far, and it does not seem like it's going to get any better in the near future.
Yeah, I would much prefer to see the league work on improving things for the current teams and players than just keep adding teams. So phase 3 begins in a few hours. Should be about 3 or 4 hours, I think.
What do we know about phase 3? This is teams are allowed to sign more players now, right?
Yes.
We've gotten more protection picks.
Yes.
Okay.
So, well, we don't have them yet.
Right.
So,
or they should come out here in a couple.
They did drop a list of a few players that rejected contracts for the expansion teams. So that was Izzy Daniel from Vancouver, Flanagan from Toronto, Gardner from Vancouver, Gosling in Seattle, Tapani in Boston, and Zumwinkle in Minnesota. They all rejected contracts from the expansion franchises. Sometime this afternoon, existing teams have the chance to sign/protect 3 more players.
Mm-hmm.
So, I believe this list of players that rejected offers in phase 2, if they don't want to get moved, their team has to sign or protect them in this next phase.
Yep.
That's what I'm hearing.
I would say that's what I generally understand to be the case.
I could be
that
wrong.
That could change. Also, the league could just change that.
Because my history with understanding this expansion is, I'm 0 for 12 right now. Yeah, this is gonna be a bitch to edit.
It's gonna be welcome to fact checking with the.
I haven't even finished editing episode 2 yet, and now
the skeleton under the water. This ain't about him.
This ain't about him. This ain't about TG2.
Me when I directly reference TG2 in this episode, so it has to come out before this episode.
This ain't about him. So, I don't know. We'll, draft is in less than a week. Mm-hmm. So, You're going out of town.
I'm going out of town.
I will probably do.
Be in the ocean.
I'm debating. I'm debating on doing like a little solo.
Do like a little recap, yeah.
So a little recap of the draft.
And then we'll talk about it in depth when I return.
Just keep your mom updated.
Yep.
Just want to keep your mom in the loop.
Mm-hmm. As you should.
Weird thing. I'm like, I don't even know when this. Hopefully, I can get this out before the fucking draft. Cause I'm still working.
All right, very good. Hope you enjoyed. I don't know what's happening. You don't know what's happening. PWHL don't know what's happening.
We'll find out what's happening.
We'll find out eventually, maybe. I don't know. Is there going to be PWHL next year? Who knows?
I hope so.
I hope so too.
I just want to see Layla Edwards in a PW jersey.